Capitalism has fed us the lie since childhood that our worth is intertwined with productivity, and it is destroying the natural flow of our creativity. I've really been reflecting on how ingrained this subconscious programming is within the collective, how this leads us to force action from the mind, searching for clarity, while that also means we're neglecting the needs of our body and how it is speaking to us, communicating its needs. And so much of society doesn't even know how to honor your body's yes and no and what that feels like. Unconsciously, this actually serves us because we have been told from a young age that you need to push forward, you need to keep doing, and this is what you do to be successful, to climb the ladder, to feel accomplished, to contribute to society, and ultimately survive in a competitive environment. Every subconscious belief at the core is related to receiving love, approval, and worthiness. So deep down, we actually feel like the more that I do, the more that others will see my value. When in truth, the higher resonance here is that we are inherently valuable simply from our being. When our value is defined by doing, over time, our baseline becomes fight or flight. Pushing our body in survival mode means that we don't have the energy and vitality to pour into our creations. So from an empty cup, we're not fully allowing our truest authentic expression, sharing our wisdom and our mission with the world. Although our body is communicating to us how exhausted we are mentally, physically, spiritually, we feel the need to push forward because we have a fear, either consciously or unconsciously, of being labeled as lazy. Society has deemed that as less than. So we feel obligated to the to-do list. And this mental state that comes along with it is overthinking our ideas, perfectionism of thinking that there's a right or wrong way to do it, obsessing over the details, needing a perfect plan from A to Z before taking that first action step forward, and ultimately fearing the judgment of people. This burnout leads to a lack of clarity and creative blocks. And ultimately, we lose our bigger why. Why were we called to this path less traveled in the first place? To be of higher service and sharing our divine gifts. And it's so important to remember that you can feel the frequency of a slow cooked creation that is divinely channeled and gifted with intention. Whereas capitalism is rooted in self-sufficiency and survival, focus on the self. Creative intelligence is focused on heartfelt service, pure intention, and community. As I've been going through this inner season of death and winter, I've really been reflecting on how capitalism has been impacting the ways that I show up and my program, subtle and not so subtle. It makes me reflect when I first started my business and invested in all these programs. It was very masculine and structured of, you need to do X to receive Y. You need to have this copy that follows this exact template, and you need to have an ideal client avatar using their exact words. And while that worked in the past really well, as we are shifting and growing as a collective, the veil continues to thin. You can feel the frequency and intention. It's felt when you take these incredibly divine creations and they are expansive, full of light, infinite, that comes through your channel, and then you start to overthink, okay, how am I going to fit this into this box and into this structure, into this copy, and I need to change these words. That's felt. And so I really feel like we are moving into this new age in how we show up in social media and being asked to be even more authentic with our expression and our light, to release these past ideas that you need to do this to be of service. you need to have this really strict structure to have your work more seen by your people. Rather, it's going to continue to be more frequency-based and heart-based. It is good to have that masculine structure. We have to have that balance in feminine, but rather it doesn't need to be so rigid and contrived and really looked in at with a magnifying glass to fit it into a box. We are being asked to fully release the limitations of capitalism, to listen to the innate intelligence of our body, resting when needed without guilt. And I said when needed, not to avoid being seen. That is a whole different conversation. And then also honoring those periods of inspired action as intuitive leaders who are here to create new ways of being, to share our gifts with others in innovative ways. We need to come into this new template, not the old one that constricts and needs to fit and look in a certain way. I've seen the fruits of unraveling these pieces of capitalistic success and asked myself, what is soulful success that is in coherence with my body's rhythms, timings, flow? When I fully trust that, honor my periods of rest, honor my inner seasons, honor when I feel called to inspired action, that has had such a direct impact on the development of my gifts, my soul work, my methodology, how expanded I feel in being of service to others. To make a deeper impact, it is non-negotiable to honor our body, trust our intuition, and create intentional space consistently for creative expression. I have 4 tips for you to go deeper on this and to gain clarity. You're not going to get overwhelmed. You're going to choose one and listen to your intuition the first time, whichever you feel called to. So the first 2 are free writing. And first I recommend that you get into an expanded soul state, whether that be dancing, moving, breathing, or getting out into nature. So the first one is free write and ask your body, what season is it in and what it needs. The second is free writing. If I was labeled as lazy, what does that actually mean about me? That's gonna uncover some really juicy unconscious beliefs that's creating you to push against your body and feel obligated. The third one is connecting with your inner child and the version of yourself that does not fully feel safe in resting, and you're going to give them that permission and hold them as an adult. And the last one is uncommercialized pleasure. So if you want to crochet, crochet. Don't feel like you need to make money off of it. If you want to doodle, create art, allow your inner child to express without feeling obligated that you need to do something with it. Just have fun, express, play, and be in joy.